Welcome to part 2 of Beyond Belief, a Divine Friendship. I'm your host, Pastor Isabella Barrett. Last week, Mia and Brent courageously shared their experiences with prayer, and we discovered how as people, we tend to default into a master-servant mode when we pray to God. Well, in part 2 today, we're going to talk about how you can take steps to deepen your trust in God and begin to pray to Him in another mode, as friend. So grab a coffee or a cup of tea and settle in for part 2. Transitioning into our second point today, talking it over, where we talk to God as you would a friend, right? So contrasting. So we're talking about these two different aspects of viewing God as master and viewing Him as a friend, right? This master who's distant and non-relational, to the idea of having this close and present friend, constant companion. God also, like Pastor Althea was saying, God entered into relationships in the New Testament through Jesus. In John 15, Jesus vulnerably shared His life with His disciples. He even said, "I no longer call you servants. Instead, I have called you friends." How is the relationship between a master and servant different from the relationship between friends? That answer would seem pretty obvious, right? But did it seem that obvious to you when Cynthia asked you to pray for that same topic from the different modes? What was your experience when she asked you to pick a topic, Brent, and actually pray from those different modes from the perspective of master and friend? What differences did you notice?
I noticed that in general when I pray, I always pray like that master and servant relationship. That's like a default for me automatically. That's just how I've always done it. But when I do it as if he's more like a friend, then like I just talk like how I always talk.
Yeah.
I said I'm born here and grew up here, so the pigeon comes out, and I just start talking like how I normally do, and I pause a lot, and like I might say something, I don't know, that doesn't sound super, intelligent, like fancy words that Pastor Althea said, like when pastors will go up and say fancy words. Like sometimes you try to work it into prayers because you feel like you should, but yeah, you don't have to, and that's what a big game changer is that I learned.
Did it change the way you felt or the outcome of?
Yeah, yeah, a lot.
Yeah,
because I just felt like I could be myself more than some fake front that I put out.
Did you have more direction?
Huh?
Did you have more direction on what you were praying about?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'd say so, because when you can feel like you're your genuine self, then you're not clouded by all the distractions of what should I say and how should I say it and all that.
Yeah.
I can just say it exactly how I feel in the moment. So yeah, I think it does help a lot.
I had that same experience too, and I'm a pastor. That was my default, was master servant, and I was like, holy smokes. And we're always saying Jesus is my friend, the songs that we sing, and then yet when we pray, and then I started paying attention to how we were praying in church, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that is everybody's default. Like we get stuck as if our God is just, our good, beautiful God is one-dimensional.
My crazy mind sees or hears God saying, "Now why y'all all dressed up? Y'all think I know who you are? You trying to dress up and pretty up?
Yeah.
You're trying to have a public persona, right?
Yeah.
Because, you're trying to have a public persona. God says, but I know you already.
And now,
who are you impressing?
Now that prayer, the Pharisee and that comes to, all of a sudden it's like, whoa.
You're praying so people can hear you.
Yeah.
Because God says, I know you. I know who you really are. You can just be you. I love the fact that you say you're talking pigeon, because when I talk to the Lord, I don't sound like a DS. Whatever that's supposed to be.
See, you're going to end this episode with praying not on DS like. You're going to bring the boogie down into this for prayers.
Oh my God, you know me. You know my thoughts. I cannot hide from you. That's what God calls us into. Just keep it real. I mean, it's really the phrase I want to say, because even when you're not keeping it real, God's looking at you like, okay, when you gonna get a clue? Because I know you already. I know who you are. You can't hide from me.
Mm-hmm.
So just be your authentic self.
Okay, so
I'm sorry.
with that said, no.
Okay.
I'm gonna, with you saying that, how can we help people? Because for some people that's going to be uncomfortable. How do we reconcile being friends with the creator of the universe, a holy and sinless God, with the idea of a simple friendship? Can you help us wrap our minds around how we can pursue that friendship while still holding him in holy reverence? Because some of our parents,
Yeah.
they're gonna be like,
So I think
you being disrespectful.
no, but I think there's really
Because there's some of those T-shirts is like, come on,
so there is
Jesus is your BFF. Some of those shirts is like, really, he not your personal.
But Jesus is my BFF.
But not in
a disrespectful way.
That's
but,
what I'm. So that's what
God is
I want you to
sovereign.
get at.
Okay, so
like,
God
how do
is-
we hold those two?
Okay, so
hold
God
those
is
two
sovereign.
things in balance.
God is the universe, right? Same one. I love from Job 38 onward. It's not what she speaks about in the book, so forgive me for taking us someplace else. But Job, who sees God as, this hierarchy, this awesomeness, he gets disrespectful in the fact that when his friends who are trying to lead him astray and tell him, you had to have done something for all this mess to be in your life. What great sin did you commit? And he's like, I haven't done anything. I haven't, when his wife is asking him to just curse God and die, he's like, naked I came in, naked I'll go back out. He's still humble and whatever. By the time you get to the end of Job and his friends say he gets his dander up and he says, as a matter of fact, I know I haven't done anything and God owes me an answer. Oh, now you've missed your place. It's kind of like when your parent goes,
Yeah.
Don't get disrespectful. I'm still your mother. I'm still your father, right? So you don't have demands of me. I'm sovereign. I get to do what I want to do. So we never forget that. But the awesomeness of the fact that there is a sovereign, holy God who makes no mistakes, even when we have mistakes in our lives, God did not make the mistake. He has given us the opportunity to choose and to make decisions. So when you go, but that very same God has made God's self known to us in Jesus and has given us the Spirit to communicate with a holy God. So when you go to prayer, I'll speak for myself, that is always in the balance. But God is still knows me better than anybody who walks this earth, sits on the throne of my heart and is the lover of my soul, knows my thoughts without me even having to say them, knows the words that I'm trying not to say, saying, but I already heard your words because I know what you think. When you understand that the one who we say our Father to in the Lord's Prayer, hallowed be, you are set apart, you are unlike anyone else, but it's still the same God. But my image is that when I think of God as Father, I see myself as a little child crawling up into my Father's lap. And it's Daddy. It's not, oh, my Father. No, this is Daddy. You have a beautiful baby girl. When you say to her, Christina, she knows the tone of your voice. She knows, and so that's why we'll talk about it in further segments. But when you get into a relationship, because you have a relationship with your daughter, and if you just look at your relationship with your daughter and think about God, you're not God in her life, but you are God in her life because you're mommy and daddy, right? And so there's structure and there's order, and she knows that she knows when you're giving her a loving look, and she knows when she's disappointing you. And it's the same thing with the God we can't see, who we know, because how are we relating? So,
Right.
So I think about it in the terms of, as I say, our daily relationships, our daily interactions with authority in our life, because the awesome God who is sovereign is an authority thing, right? Master servant. That's not lost on Christina. She knows you are authority in her life, but she also knows you as playful,
Right.
loving, cuddle, cuddle, nibble, nibble, tickle, tickle. You move from being authority to being,
Right.
mommy and daddy.
We can't make that same mistake of that's the only aspect that he's just your
Right.
friend. No, he's not just your friend.
Right,
He's
right.
also your master.
He's your master.
Yeah.
He's the authority in your life, but
He's a
includes you
loving master.
from having
Yeah.
this tender,
Right.
soft relationship where you can just crawl up in the
Right.
lap and-
He's your dad, but you wouldn't tell your dad what to do.
Oh, yeah. Except for when they get older in life.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But he doesn't get older. He's eternal.
Yeah, that's right. Right. So, I mean, but I'm saying when we take those kinds of relationships, now it gets difficult when those relationships in our earthly lives are unhealthy, because then it means that how we relate to God is probably going to start out very unhealthy unless we're willing to examine it.
Right.
Because how you have relationships with people you see every day affects how you have a relationship with the God.
We cannot project it onto God.
And we have to be willing to have those conversations with God, and like we're having it here with one another, to help us see ourselves.
You know, in 12-step, there's a method that we do to help us figure out if that is coming from God or if that's our own self-will. Red light, green light.
And in our faith tradition, that same thing happens for us in this context.
Yeah.
With John Wesley, it was in the groups. It was having the conversations,
Yeah.
so we can flesh this out.
Yeah.
But all too often, there's embarrassment, or there's not willing to be vulnerable to have the conversation because we don't have safe spaces to have those kind of conversations. But our faith tradition invites us into that. But all too often, we keep shrouds and we keep up appearances because we don't want anybody to really know.
Right. That whole false pride.
I don't really have it all together.
The whole
Truth
pretension.
be told, your brother or sister probably don't have it all together either. I don't have it all together.
We were just saying that on the ride over here, that really we all need 12 steps. That we need to reclaim that.
And
that's small group. It really is small group. It's John Wesley's small group.
It is the small groups. It's the accountability groups.
Yeah.
And I encourage anybody who doesn't have that to have that.
Yeah.
Because I have that.
Yeah.
There's a space, there's a place, there's a small group of folks. I could just be me, Althea. I'm not district superintendent. I'm not pastor. I'm just, I'm Thea, There's no hierarchy. There's no power structure. It is just level playing field, because we all need that. But we also understand we need that with the Lord. And then we also need to understand, but he is still God. It's still authority.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted. He'll slap you back in shape. I love you. Discipline, right? But get you back. But come on in for the hug and I love you. Oh, you're so cute.
Well, I just loved how you naturally went into the last part of our episode.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, because the last question was that how can we take the first practical step toward building that authentic friendship this week? And you said get involved in a small group.
Oh, my question would be, because I too much.
I wanted to give it back to Mia, because I know Brent had tried the prayer with the master servant. So I wanted to challenge you, Mia. Is there one thing that you're going to take back and try this week from what you heard today about with prayer?
Yeah, I'm definitely changing like how I pray, with kind of like what Brent was talking about, her being very formal, like, because I did try to change, like when I first read it, change it and like, oh, speaking to him like he's my friend, but then I still found myself like having this formality and, still not being truthful with myself with how I'm praying, like as if I'm talking to, not really being real about what I want to pray about, and just like
talk to your friend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely gonna try that instead of, because I was viewing it as more like how I'm talking, like, oh, hey God, versus like being real with myself and what the things that I really want to work on and pray about. So
yeah, and you don't have to do a lot of talking either.
That's right.
Our prayer should be a lot more listening.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, the first word.
Yeah.
Who gets the first word?
Who gets the first word?
Yeah.
And when you get mad at God.
Yeah.
That's a different episode. But when you get mad at God.
Yeah.
Watch the pearls, I'm sorry.
Well, that ends our episode 1, Beyond Belief, a Divine Friendship. Thank you for joining us today. And I want to give a special thank you to our guest, And we hope that what we shared today will help you take the steps to develop a relationship with Jesus, because prayer is relational. It is about developing an authentic friendship